Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my team of rather stimulated co-hosts. To my right, it is the one, the only, Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And to my left, it is none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
Uncle Sam, Bruce, good to see everybody.
Great to see everyone. And
Salute.
behind the computer, looking dazed and confused, it is
Mostly
Bruce,
confused.
the tugboat, Venditti.
What's up?
We are back. Another week is upon us. It is Wednesday. That means we are going to wrap up every single thing going on in the NFL today, which, shockingly enough, for it being mid-June, which is supposed to be nothing land, there's a lot going on. We actually have quite a bit to
The
discuss.
NFL is 24/7 now.
365
That's it.
days a year.
That's it. Doesn't matter.
Before we get into that, how was your weekend?
It was good.
Anything to report on?
Did you have a good Father's Day?
Yes, I did.
You're the only father here.
My
that
kids,
we know of.
that is true.
That we know of.
What
What happened?
No, my kids got me a cake. It's really good.
What kind of cake? Tres
Had
leches?
macaroons on it. It's pretty badass. They go from this Italian bakery. They got me a
What Italian bakery?
I don't know the name of it.
Was it like
Mario's or
was it like a
some shit like
casada
that.
deal with the cannoli filling and
It
shit?
was really good.
Good
It was
cake?
Really good.
Would you
It had-
grill?
It had macaroons on it.
Oh, nice.
It was nice.
Was it the
What'd you
same
grill?
place?
Oh yeah.
What did you
I
grill?
made burgers.
How
and,
many?
chops.
How many burgers?
How many burgers?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I did like, I don't know, 15, 18 burgers.
There we go. That's the fucking.
I did about
18.
8 to 10 chops.
What do you mean by chops? Lamb,
Pork chops.
pork?
Pork chops.
Wow. Did you bread them or did you just throw them on
listen,
there
the only
straight
thing
up?
you ever grill is pork. Remember that.
Well, you just said you grilled hamburgers.
Chops.
He
When
said
I say
he's-
chops,
he has
I mean
said that
pork.
before.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And
not one to grill
was
lamb
it the
chops.
same Italian place?
I don't do lamb chops. You're going to cook lamb chops. You cook that shit in the oven.
I don't grill
Don't
my
ever
steaks.
cook it on the grill.
I don't grill any steaks.
I blackstone the steak.
Huh?
Yeah, I pan sear and I finish
Exactly.
it in the oven. I
The
never put a steak on the grill.
Blackstone is the best way to cook any kind of steak.
Agreed.
Grilling wise, if you're grilling, actually barbecuing with charcoal, you always want to use charcoal. Don't ever use a fucking gas grill to barbecue. Barbecue, you have to use charcoal, period. There's no other way to do it.
Listen,
the taste is totally different.
Agree that the taste is different.
Yes, totally different.
The charcoal
it might be
thing-
faster on their little fucking gas grill.
It's so labor intensive to do a
yeah,
charcoal
but that's
grill.
the point, dude. You got to smoke that shit. It's got to cook for 7-8 hours, dude.
You know, I did
Be
ribs.
careful because he's going to take the meat and roll it up and smoke it just because he heard you say that.
Probably.
I did ribs.
I got my grill. You could
hold on
probably
a
take
second.
one of Bruce's legs off. You could throw his whole body in there.
Do you still have the
The super
barrel?
grill. You know,
Barrel
the
grill?
giant smoker I got.
Well, yeah, but do you still have the barrel? The ghetto
No,
grill.
no, I bought a new one. I got a new one. I got the heavy duty. I bought it from Home Depot.
Is it still the barrel or no?
It's the char griller. No, it's not a barrel. It's round. It's like a barrel, but it's huge and it's double layered.
He had
badass.
this grill at his old house that was actually an old.
Oh yeah,
metal
it was an
oil
old
barrel,
drum.
cut in half.
Shout out to my boy D-Row Butler, D-Bone. But yes, the old, it was a giant
grill.
barrel with an exhaust pipe as a smoke.
I've seen one of those.
It was the best grill I ever had. I grilled so much shit in there, I melted the grate on it twice.
Listen, this
and I
is getting
remember
out of
when I
hand. This is a
moved,
whole separate
I-
conversation right now because I want to know what everyone's grilling, how they're grilling it, how everyone takes their steaks.
should we come
I
on
want
to
to hear
the-
about your ribs. Like I want to, and
Oh, yeah.
there's too much to talk about today. But I have a lot to hear. Like I want to
We're
know about
gonna
the
do a smoker
Blackstone.
show
You
one
guys-
day.
We're
This
gonna do an
cooking show.
exclusive barbecue show. Just
But
Yeah.
sit here
it
and
was
talk about
awesome.
meat.
I had a great day.
Tipped meats.
The kids were stand up.
Tipped
I went and
meats.
see my dad in the morning, bright and early, at 7:00 in the morning. The birds come out chirping.
Where's he at? Where's your dad at?
Detroit St. Hedwig.
I go to see my dad. I go to see my dad
I went
almost
to see
every
my
holiday.
daddy
but-
and my granddaddy and my grandmama.
Oh, they're all in the same
They're all
place?
there. They're all in the same vicinity. My Aunt Mary, my Uncle Paul, and my Uncle John Ellswood Smith.
Okay.
Shout out to Uncle John.
Shout out to Uncle John. Shout out to
Moving
Carl G.
on. How was your weekend?
Good.
Beautiful.
I was
Bruce?
outside. I was outside.
Very fun. I had a very good weekend.
Good.
I seen a picture. I always tease Bruce about being straight up Emmerich, and I am dead wrong. And I wanted to say that Emmerich, he is not an Emmerich. He is definitely a Venditti because his dad looks just like him with the same hairline. He looks just like his daddy. It was I stand corrected. You are not an Emmerich.
So we're rescinding the Emmerich cream pie
Yeah.
title.
He's just
Emmerich
a little
cream
blonde
pie.
version of an Emmerich. He's just a little blonde version of a Venditti.
Emrico Cream Pie only lived for a week.
That's it.
That was it.
Creamsicle.
That was it. Well, shall we talk about some football? The Lions made some news today. We talked a lot last week about jerseys and our favorites, our least favorites, and all of us agreed that the Lions uniform probably isn't one of the best, but it's also not awful. It's above average, so to say, okay? They came out with a new helmet today. And we need to discuss this because so far, everything I've seen, you got two sides to this. People that absolutely love it and people that absolutely hate it. It's blue. It has the throwback 50s logo, which I'm sure you're a huge fan of.
Bruce and I have both worn the
they hit a
shirt.
fucking home run on the logo.
Yes.
Bruce and I, he's worn it in the past. He's got a blue version. I wore a
have
gray
one, too.
version.
I have a gray
and you
one.
have it too.
Well,
Listen, I'm curious your opinion because how old are you?
I'm sorry?
How old are you?
57.
Okay, you've been staring since however long, since the 60s, you've been staring at a Lions helmet that's
Correct.
just been silver, maybe with a decal on it here or there.
Correct.
I want to know your thoughts on the blue helmet.
I actually like it. I like it.
what
I
do you
like the twist.
What do you
I
like about it? What are your favorite aspects of it?
My favorite part of the helmet, period, is the logo. Period. I think they hit a home run with the logo. I
Bruce,
really do.
debate him. I know you disagree with with a small part of that at least.
I just don't like the stripes with the logo.
But the stripe
I think
is
the
with
line-
the logo.
I know,
That's
I
the
know.
whole thing. That's
Just-
the logo.
I feel like if it was just the lion logo,
It's the Mach 2, baby.
it'd look like cooler. And also the blue with the gray jersey doesn't quite make any sense to me.
well, that's
You stole my thunder there.
I was gonna chime in that too. Before we go down there, because that's what I think we're all gonna fight about. There's one other logo that I saw that I thought would have been absolutely fucking awesome to bring back, and it's the way far back logo. And I thought they might get kind of crazy with it and do something like this. This is the original logo. It's a dude in a red shirt, blue helmet with this old school fucking lion that looks like it came on the Animal Cracker box. That I like. I thought that was cool. I thought they might do something with that because obviously every logo going back to the 1960 logo, which was the one that's on the alternate helmet, looks pretty much, it's all the same.
Right.
From 70 onward, it was essentially the same. Okay.
No, I'm looking at it. Sorry, what? Asshole, I can't-
Nothing. It's just funny.
Right?
did?
This
Just
was
from
cool.
my angle.
1952.
This is still the best one, period.
You
That's the
like
best
the
logo,
60.
period.
So there's no arguing about the logo.
No, the logo's the fucking best.
I like the logo too. So low key, I actually understand what you're saying. It would have been cool to do that lion,
With no stripes
that
behind it?
prancing lion from the '60s with no stripes.
Right.
That would have been cool. The helmet itself, I like it. I thought they nailed it. It's the first of its kind color scheme in the NFL. It's the first
Original
matte blue
shell.
helmet,
Yep.
original shell. They're the first the first team to do it. The gray face mask is excellent.
Matte gray
Face mask
Yes.
is excellent. I agree with Bruce on the stripes, but also I agree with Uncle Sam. It's fine with the stripes too. It works. But I'm with the consensus. And even a couple days ago when they came out when they said they were going to unveil the helmet today, I don't love the concept of the blue helmet with the gray jerseys. It's the only jersey I don't want to see that
Where
helmet
with all
with.
blue? Where with all blue? I think that would look
I agree.
awesome.
Exactly.
Then you would have to change the blue on the jersey.
It would
Why?
look good with the white too. It would
All white.
It would look great
That's
with
what-
the all white.
all
My
white would look
first
cool.
thought was this helmet with the all white uniform would be chef's kiss.
Pristine.
The gray, I agree with you 1,000%. I don't get it with the gray.
And it looks odd. And people who analyze jerseys for a living, we're saying 2 days ago, God forbid they do this with the gray jersey, and sure enough, they did it with the gray jersey, and it just looks odd. Now, I have a little faith because, as we know, or some of you might not know, they're getting new jerseys next year. That's the theory. I think Rod Wood has pretty much confirmed it.
You're actually answering a comment that we have on there.
Oh, okay, beautiful,
Comment.
beautiful.
Having the uniforms to go with it.
Yeah, so next year they're going to have New Jersey, supposedly. And the rumor has it is they're going back to Uncle Sam. They're going back to that 90s jersey that's over your shoulder right now, which is the blue jersey with the white letters
Okay.
and the gray outline. If you guys want to look that up, if you just Google Lions concept jersey, it'll come up. There's one with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and this would look good. Are you telling me that blue on the helmet is not Honolulu blue?
It looks like a darker blue. It looks like that not.
You know
that
what? Maybe it's
commercial,
just
it
a
looks like
picture
them-
because it looks light to
the
me in a
Mach
couple of
1
shots. too.
Mustang blue that they advertised it with.
This is the thing you have to remember. When you take a color like that and you mat it out, the color is going to change, right?
Correct.
So it could be the same blue, but because
Right, because
they
it's matted.
matted it out, it
Yeah.
could make
I
it look a
will
little bit different.
Say this: the helmet is very, and this is not a bad thing, but it's very XFL like type of helmet.
What does that mean? What is?
Because they have- You
think it looks
XFL?
kitty?
Goes to one
They
XFL game once.
USFL.
Oh, excuse me.
Anyway,
Oh yeah, Bruce was at the Michigan Panthers game.
that's it. They win.
They did.
They're going to the playoffs
Tied
thanks
with
to the
everybody
Venditti
in the
family.
league.
Yeah, they're going to the playoff. What's their record again? 4-8.
4-5.
Is Jeff Fisher still the coach?
No, he got canned.
God bless Jeff Fisher.
So overall, you like the helmet.
Sucks.
I love the helmet. I love the logo. I love the helmet.
Love the helmet. Don't like what they're doing with the jersey scheme. And also, real quick side tangent. When they announced that this was coming 2 days ago, I somehow talked myself into how sick would a white helmet be.
I would love to see
And I
this
saw a
helmet
concept white
whited out.
helmet. But that being said, we're talking about today's helmet. It's been unveiled. There's nothing we can do about it. They nailed the helmet. Helmet looks good.
Nailed the helmet.
Don't
I
like
think
how
they
they're
could go
doing
with
it.
the version of like you just said, same logo, and white out the helmet.
Yeah.
Bruce, you
I
like
think
the
it would
helmet.
look excellent.
Overall, yes, I like the helmet.
So we're all in consensus that we all like the helmet.
We like
It's
it.
an alternative.
I
helmet.
haven't
It's
seen
not something
anyone
we're wearing
say that they think the helmet is ugly. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm
you're-
sorry. I didn't see anyone say that they didn't like the helmet. It's just the way they're utilizing it.
My controversial things have come from the Twitterverse. That's the only I saw. There was a lot of
no.
people.
They're only wearing it for 2 games.
Well, but a lot of people said the same thing that you did. It looked like an XFL kitty, like
Right.
D2 college helmet.
I don't think that's a bad thing. Though.
It's supposed to be fun though.
Correct. And that's
Right.
what I said.
And
That's what I was thinking.
It reminds me, like, before Nike got all off the rails with jerseys, like, getting off the rails with jerseys is a new thing in the last decade. But I don't know if anyone remembers 10 or so years ago, they came out with a concept for college football called Pro Combats.
Yes.
And different teams had different jerseys. Like Michigan State had a black one that Spartan fans hated. It was cool. Ohio State fans
I
had
love
one.
the black jersey with the gold letters on
Yeah,
it.
they
It
had
was
like a
absolute-
bronze. They had like a
it
bronze
was
Spartan,
bronze.
and
The helmet was
It's
bronze.
supposed to be fun. It's not
Yeah.
supposed to be cute. It's supposed to be different and fun. And we've been looking. This is the 90th year of
Oregon's
this
version of
organization. And other than wearing leather helmets, they had silver helmets for almost every year of this franchise. And now they have something different. They have a blue one. And they have a little bit of color to work with, and I think that's cool, and it's a good time to do it. And who knows? I think next year that if they do the right thing with the jerseys, if they come up with a modern concept of the 90s jerseys, it could be a lot of fun.
I agree 1,000%. The gray thing, I agree. The gray just didn't sit right with me. Other than that, stellar job by that.
In the chat, we got JK44 is wondering if they're going to do new jerseys next year. The rumor is, and it's been all but confirmed by the team president, is that they are getting new jerseys next year. This was the first step, as the helmets were this year. The jerseys are next year. So yes,
It's only 2 games, like you said.
it's 2 games.
I think
December
they should
8th.
keep it.
December 8th against the Raiders is where it's
No,
taking its debut.
October. It's the Monday Night Football game against the Raiders.
Oh, is it October 8th?
Monday Night Football.
Oh, it's week 8.
It's
That's
2
why I
games,
got
and then the final home game against the Vikings. And then I'm sure on Thanksgiving they'll wear that throwback concept, the solid blue jersey with the solid silver numbers and letters,
not change.
with the no
That's
decal
my
on the
favorite
helmet.
one that they have.
It's cool.
Is that one?
It's cool.
Also, great job on the T-shirt today.
Yeah, I had 2 options. I had this, I had this, or I had the one that Bruce and I have worn in the past with the new logo that's on the or the old logo that's they're putting on the new helmet.
Love it. We need to discuss gambling amongst the NFL players because this has caused a ton of controversy over the last year. I mean, if we go back to last season, we had Calvin Ridley miss the entire year for gambling. This season, there's a whole laundry list of guys who are suspended, and supposedly
Now,
there could
see,
be-
I didn't see that. I haven't seen the big laundry list.
What
Is there
they-
any big names on it?
My guess is there will be because it
Correct.
sounds like the NFL it's like the Matrix when they plug their heads into the Matrix. The NFL gets a notification from all of the betting companies. That's one of the issues that came out yesterday. As soon as someone signs up, the NFL if a player is using their real name, the NFL knows about it instantly. And the company in turn reports to the NFL, this is what they're betting and this is where they're betting. So there's no way around.
So they know. They know
They
who's
know.
betting, where
They
it's
know.
betting, everything. They know everything. I want to know how much of it's getting swept under the
Didn't
rug.
Well-
Calvin Ridley come out and say that you shouldn't be allowed to do it at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's actually a very good thing that you just brought up because that's all in all, after going through these rules, just don't leave any gray area.
Yeah, but where was these rules fucking
Well, that's the whole
months
thing.
ago?
That's the debate. We'll get to that.
This
Read
is
the
where
rules.
the
Read the rules.
This is where the controversy comes in because here are essentially the 6 key rules, as they're calling it. Don't bet on the NFL. That
Duh.
includes your game, any NFL game, any sort of prop bet, Pro Bowl, the draft, any NFL sanctioned anything, you are not allowed to bet on.
Okay.
The color of the fucking Gatorade doesn't
Okay.
matter. You can't bet on it. Do not gamble at the team facility while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel. Anything that is team oriented.
So you're not allowed to gamble at all.
I love how they put
At
that in there.
any
At a
team
team hotel.
Facility. So
Okay.
it could.
So
the
if you're
stadium-
in a hotel room the night before a game and it's 11:30
It is
at
technically a
night,
team
you're
facility.
better off
and on a
rubbing
college
one
game.
out.
making a phone call to Deshaun Watson and asking him which masseuse he uses.
Hold that thought because
Okay.
that applies to Jamison Williams. Whatever you're
Okay.
conceptualizing right now applies to Jamison Williams. Go ahead.
don't have someone bet for you. This one,
How
it's
the
just fucking
Fuck, would you know if I had somebody betting for me?
right. If you look at
How
our
would
friend,
you
you're like,
know?
oh, put 1,000 on the Ravens. Who the fuck are? How are they gonna? You know what I'm
How are you
saying?
going to track
Shout out to
that?
Carl G. I've done that for you before. I put 1,000 on the Ravens for you before, Carl G. Shout out to
How are you going to track it?
Well, here now,
They can't track that.
Exactly.
now we're getting into insider
gray area.
trading.
This is
the gray
and
area.
This is where it gets fucked. Don't share team inside information.
What?
Okay.
Kirk
so
Cousins has a broken cunt.
Yeah.
Bet against the
I-
Vikings.
Bruce broke his vagina and can't play today.
I mean, like,
come on.
don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season.
What if sports
So they
books have
can't
good
go
food? What if
into
the
a
best wings are at the
casino?
sports book? That's what Lou Williams did in the
sports
bubble in Orlando. He left the bubble because there's a strip club in Orlando that had excellent wings, and he had to quarantine for 9 days. What if a sports book has great food? What if you live near a
Right.
casino or you got to stay at a casino one
What if
night?
you
'cause
live
your
in Las
apartment's broken?
Vegas?
Hold
where the
on,
Raiders play.
There you go.
And-
what? That's a big point here. What you just said. All of these rules apply to members of the Raiders and any visiting team.
That's absolute horse.
You got to walk by a slot machine. You got to
Yeah.
walk by the sports book to go to the fucking elevator, get on the fucking bus to go play at Allegiant Stadium if you're playing the Raiders.
Right.
Cannot do it. And
That's ridiculous.
Hold on. The last
You know what?
rule.
Roger Goodell is
The
an
last
idiot.
rule. Do
Yeah.
not play daily fantasy football.
What the fuck? Are you
Daily
serious?
fantasy.
Daily
All
fantasy.
right, that's like draft. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
So that.
Okay. Whatever. You
Now,
can play the seasonal one. You just can't play the daily one.
here we go.
Your thought on Jamison Williams, or your
Yes.
thought of what are you doing in the hotel room? Like that kid was sitting at home for the first 2 or 3 months of the season and wasn't traveling.
Was
didn't
hurt.
know. I don't know if he traveled to every game, but regardless, he's not participating in every meeting. He's not like he knows he's not dressing tomorrow because he's got issues with his knee. What the hell is he supposed to do sitting in a hotel room late at night? I get it. It's a rule. Whatever. He was supposed to know the rule, whether it was told to him
Whatever.
or
He knew
not.
not to bet on football. Give it a fucking rest,
Yeah.
man.
I
the
think
fuck?
I think this incriminates the shit out of the NFL.
Agree.
I think this makes them look so bad. And I'm talking in
He
particular
should
about the
appeal
Jameson
that
Williams.
fucking suspension.
He should appeal. In particular, talking about the Jameson Williams suspension, they came out with this rule list. Okay, good. You did it now. And they're talking about now they're sending someone to every team facility. They're making sure this gets drilled with the rookies, first things first. So how is it not retroactive to him when guys have literally come out and said, yeah, maybe they told it to us, but sometimes it's late at night after a long practice and it's just mixed in somewhere and you don't know and you're not paying attention. It's not drilled home. I think this is still bullshit. I think JMO should 100% be off the hook. If you're going to come out with this now, this is an admission of, well, we didn't do a good job
we
of saying
wrapped
this
up
before.
explaining the rules to
Here's
everybody.
the thing. If that's the case, right, and everybody knew these rules, there's no reason to come out and go back over them in detail.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a
Exactly.
huge
Exactly.
There's a
precedent.
graphic.
Exactly.
They came out with a fucking
Correct.
What
graphic
the fuck?
explaining this.
So
they
Roger
spent
Goodell's
time
got
on
his head
this.
up his ass.
That means you didn't spend time on this
Bingo.
before, which
Correct.
is fucking bullshit. Now the Calvin Ridley situation, you should know better. Everyone knows what Pete Rose did. He's not in the Hall of Fame, best hitter of all time, because he bet on baseball. So you should know not to bet on your own sport. Okay.
That's
Being said,
you know what?
some of these
That's
guys can do
ridiculous
that.
too.
That's
That's
a little bit is. A little bit is.
At this point,
We're not getting into Pete Rose right now.
All I'm
okay?
saying is, at this point, you kept this guy out of the fucking Hall of Fame for how long? How many fucking
And it's
years?
bullshit. Now you
30
can bet on the
years?
sports. It's not
30
lost.
years?
Your point isn't lost. The gist is don't bet on your own sport. That being said,
Right.
what the fuck? What are these guys supposed to? You don't want them to go to strip clubs before games. You don't want them to go to dinner until a certain time after games. You don't want them to go to any club. You don't want them to bet in their room. You don't want them to have bets on their old college teams. What is the fucking point? You want them to just sit there and watch Remember the Titans the night before every fucking game?
Yeah.
What is the point?
Now you
And
see
meanwhile,
why
you're
now you
taking
see
money.
why everybody's packing a handgun. Jesus Christ.
Some of these brands, these betting brands, are building books in these stadiums. They're building sports books in these fucking stadiums.
That's
in
my
the first
point.
2 rows in the end zone at Ford Field. It's the BetMGM fucking club.
During
you
the
know?
Super Bowl, I watched him and Mike Hasab make a bet on everything that was everything in that game.
You
I
can
bet you
bet
the
on-
turf is green.
You can
Oh,
bet
I
on
you
dick
the fucking-
sizes. You can
the
bet on
flags are yellow.
You can bet on who's gonna fuck up the national
Yeah.
anthem. You can bet on
You
everything.
won $500 on that. What did you win on the kickoff?
Coin toss.
toss.
Yeah,
You won $500
it's one of the most
on
bet
a
on
coin
things.
toss.
It's one of the most bet on
What
things
the
every year.
fuck?
Okay. If we go, if we
Color of the
break,
Gatorade.
yes, but if we break this down, don't bet on the NFL.
Okay.
I think nobody had an issue with that.
Done, easy.
Don't gamble at your team facility. I think everybody can agree on
Totally
that.
understandable.
Yeah, but there's a second part to that.
Then, while traveling for a road game or staying in a team
The
hotel.
fact that they had to designate that means that they were cognizant that there were players in the league that didn't know and understand that rule, and therefore any suspension that happened before this
Prior
fucking
to
list
this
came
list
out, which
should
came
be-
out yesterday,
should be ducked.
null and void.
Exactly.
Example, Jameson Williams.
But again, I don't understand. What is the difference, okay? This is what I've been asking myself. What's the difference if you have a home game and you're sitting on your phone on your couch in your apartment on Saturday night betting the night before a game?
Hold on. They stay at a hotel the night before. They go to a hotel in the
Correct.
city the night before.
Correct.
Okay.
So they're not allowed
They're
to do
not
it.
at home on
But
Saturday night.
what if they're fucking on 94? They typically stay at the Henry in Dearborn every night before games, on Saturday nights before games. What if they're on 94 driving to fucking Dearborn and they're placing their bets then? You know, oh, that's legal. But then 5 minutes from now, when
Correct.
they check into the hotel, it's not.
Exactly.
That's
the
fucking
dumbest
horseshit.
shit I've ever-
Stupid.
You're taking money from these companies. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? How is it okay for your fans and everyone else to do it, but they can't bet on an NBA game that's going on?
And
that
then
night?
number 3 and 4, don't have someone bet for you. They have
That is totally
absolutely
Because you're gonna
ludicrous.
know. You're gonna look up known associates in the FBI database.
Yeah, I mean, and then
Come on.
don't share team inside information.
What?
What? What the fuck are you talking about? They have an injury report out every fucking week.
It's like, what are they going to
What do you mean inside information? Oh, you know what? I think Bruce has fucking ass crabs. Okay, it's inside info. I don't know. He's got ass crabs. So what?
Also, that's like you could say like, you know, this prick has a bum ankle. That's not an indicator of if they're going to play or not.
Right.
And most of this stuff, the reason there are injury reports, everything, you're not allowed to hide this shit to begin
bookies
with.
can bet their,
That's why
put their
for
line
years
out.
you have an injury report and you have to be transparent from the moment the fucking injury happens. It's for sports betting.
Right.
Those rules are in place for sports betting. You have to report that information so people can bet it. They don't tell you it's for
Correct.
sports betting, but there's a reason they're up your ass about reporting injuries properly all the time, and that is for the bookies. Like you just said, it's
Right.
for sports betting. It's for the fans to know what the fuck is going on.
Right. They need to do exactly what you said. They've come out with these rules. Now, everybody that has been popped, that shit needs to be void. That shit needs to be void. Unless you were betting on football like the two guys that were dismissed from the team, I understand that. I don't have an issue with that. But to pop a guy that's sitting at a fucking hotel room on the road
Probably
somewhere,
betting on no
what the
worse.
fuck is he supposed to do?
No worse betting on a college football game. No
Yes.
worse. Could be betting on his alma mater, not knowing.
So
He
what?
may not have known. He could have been working on his ACL
Yeah,
when
you
they gave
put
him the
on a bet for
presentation
the
on what was going
Alabama
on.
game? Come on, dude. What the fuck?
Don't understand it. Don't agree with it. The don't enter a sports book during the season. I mean, how many of these guys realistically are after
What?
practice
Let me ask you a
going
question.
to MGM? You know what I'm saying? That's not happening.
Let me ask you a question. You come to the city of Detroit, okay? What else is there to do?
There's weed,
got three
there's
fucking
strip clubs,
casinos
and there's
here.
casinos.
I'm sorry?
There's weed, there's strip clubs, and there's casinos.
Correct.
And then there's
That's all there is to do here.
subpar steakhouses with a la carte pieces of meat, and same with fish. You know which restaurant I'm talking about. You know
Outside
which fucking
that,
restaurant I'm talking
outside
about.
that, what is there to do?
Nothing.
That's it.
That's it.
Nothing.
That's
Now,
it.
now, granted, they're not supposed to do anything, but for the road teams aren't supposed to do
Correct.
anything. But for the guys that are here and living here and staying here, what are they supposed to do?
Exactly.
I see one thing coming.
There is no beach. There isn't anything to do other than that.
So
What, go to Hart Plaza and get robbed by a fucking crackhead? What? What is
I
there
have-
to fucking do?
I have two thoughts on this.
Okay.
All right. Number one, instead of coming out with this list of rules and having all this controversy drummed up and having all this bitty bikey bullshit in here, just don't let them gamble. Just, if you're going to do it like this, just say from
you're
August
reading-
1st till the day after the Super Bowl, there's no gambling allowed, period.
So you're agreeing with
Hold on,
Calvin
hold
here.
on. I say time out on that. I think whatever teams are involved in the Super Bowl should not be able to bet on the Super Bowl.
I said, no.
If you're
For the
not,
day
if you went home
after.
fucking weeks ago,
The day after. Nobody is allowed to bet on the Super Bowl. It's betting on NFL.
all right.
Just no gambling. Don't no
Do
casinos.
you
no sports-
truly believe the biggest sport that gambling is done is the week of the Super Bowl?
Correct.
Do you really think that none of these guys that are sitting at home watching two teams play the Super Bowl are not betting on it?
No.
I'm willing
But
to bet.
hold on, because
Everybody does.
This is my next point, because none of these guys are going to use these. It's going to go, they're just going to find a bookie and do it the old fashioned way.
Exactly.
They're not going to fucking go on
Which
the
they were doing
Barstool
before.
app.
Which they were doing before
They're
anyway.
just going to cut out any chance.
And you know
of
what?
getting
The
caught.
bookies got to survive somehow. They're offering better odds in
Yeah.
the casinos.
Hey, bookies are people too.
That's it.
Glad we
Bookies
agree.
are people too.
That was a good one. I mean,
What the hell?
typical Roger Goodell.
He's such a
stupid-
fuckstick. You
stupid
know that?
fucking move there.
Fucking guy's an idiot.
Anyways, let's move on. Hard Knocks.
I want to be commissioner of the NFL.
It'd be a better league.
Let me run that league. I'll make sure it's run the right
Wear
way.
your hat like that.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
You have to wear your hat like that. The
Yeah,
entire
I
time.
will. I'll wear it just like that. My
Look like McMahon.
my little buddy right next to me.
So last year, the Detroit Lions were on Hard Knocks, and I loved it. I know you loved it. Everybody loved.
Yeah, but
seeing the
here's
Lions.
the problem now. I would never want to see the Lions on Hard Knocks again.
Well,
Deuce Staley's not
the
here. I don't wanna
Lions
ever
were
see it again.
offered Hard Knocks again, and they have since turned it down.
Good. They should.
So you didn't want to see them back.
I don't want to. Here's the thing. I don't want them to wear out their welcome. I don't want Dan Campbell to wear out his welcome. And I think if you do it again this soon, I think that's exactly what'll happen.
It's too much distraction in the locker.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much bullshit. I don't think they.
Hey, they
need
went
it.
9-8.
Everybody
Even there
knows
said
what they are now.
There's more at stake this year.
Fair.
The secret's out, dude.
Can I be honest with
Yeah.
you? I don't think I don't think it adds noise to the locker room. I don't think it affects it. I really don't.
It used to. It used to be a thing, and it used to be considered a distraction. Now these teams are already producing
Right.
their own behind the scenes content.
Correct.
And it's always Hard Knocks,
You
24/7.
can be
Right.
comfortable with your own team's filming.
There's a camera and a microphone in these guys' face every single day. Every time they're at the facility, they're taking some video of what their fucking favorite Taylor Swift song is.
You can see these guys' prostates up close. You could see their colonoscopy up close. You could see what they ate. You could see that exact piece of corn that they swallowed the night before from Prime and Proper.
I mean, there's no. Essentially, yeah, what you said.
They were
It's
already
Hard
on it.
Knocks every
Listen,
day.
the world got to see the Detroit Lions, the new Detroit Lions, for what they were. The world's already seen it.
You
They
brought
don't
up a
need to
good
see it
point.
again.
You brought up a good point with Dan Campbell and I've seen that before. I've seen people say, "Well, no, I don't want them on there again because I don't want people to sour on the Lions and they like being the darlings, and I don't want Dan Campbell to be soured on, and I don't want it to backfire." I agree with that point, but also selfishly, I did want to see it again because I'm expecting big things this season, and I thought it would be. I think it would be pretty cool.
I wanted to see the evolution.
Yeah, 100%.
I wanted to be able to see. When I heard this, I got excited. I wanted to see what the difference of because
Did they turn it down?
Yes.
Why?
Supposedly, they volunteered last year because there's a list of teams, and the list of teams this year, by the way, and we'll debate this too. The list of teams this year that have to be on Hard Knocks, it has to be one of these teams, are the Jets, the Bears, the Saints,
have already
and
been
the
on.
Commanders. Okay, the criteria is you didn't make the playoffs the year before, you don't have a new head coach, and there's one more if you weren't on it the year before. So it doesn't matter as long as you weren't on the year before. So the Lions met that criteria last year. Dan Campbell was in his second year. They didn't make the playoffs, and they hadn't been on it before. And so Rod Wood volunteered to do it and thought it was a good time to build up, clout for the team. And this year, they don't have to do it. They don't have to do it. But because none of these four teams, the Commanders, the Jets, the Bears, the Saints, because none of them have come out and said, we want to do it, the people from HBO and the NFL said, we'll reach out to Rod Wood again. Everyone loves the Lions right now. And Rod Wood said, no, we did it last year.
I wanted to see it happen. I really did. I wanted to see the evolution of, we had a 3-win football team coming into last season, right? With very small expectations. Yeah, we
Right.
thought they'd be better, but we didn't. Right now,
I don't think anybody thought that they would have won as many games they did last year.
expectations.
I didn't think so.
Expectations are not 500. Expectations are win the division. And I wanted to see the evolution from, we need to get better to, we need to win now.
It'd be cool.
That's what I wanted to see.
And I think they also turned down, there's a mid-season Hard Knocks now.
Correct. So you brought up my next point because the 4 teams that are available, the Commanders have come forward and said they want to do the in-season Hard Knocks. So now,
I like that.
The preseason Hard Knocks, you have the Jets, Bears, and Saints all who said they didn't want to do it. But one of them is going to be forced to. So between the Jets, the Bears, and the Saints, couple of questions. Who would you want to see? Who would be the sexiest to see? And who do you think it's going to be?
I think I'd want to see. I hate saying it, but it's the Jets. I hate saying it. I think the sexy would be the
I
Saints.
say Green Bay.
And I think I just don't give a fuck about the Chicago Bears, and I don't want any clout building for any team in our division.
I was going to say Chicago.
I was going to say I would want to see Chicago.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Let's hear you both.
I do.
I
want
want to see
There's
Chicago.
a reason why I want to see it.
Why?
Just because.
I think your reasons are going to be different too.
What is Justin Fields? Is he the truth? Is he bullshit? What is he? Is he Cam Newton? Going to come in, have one great year, and then disappear?
You want to know why I want to see Chicago? Because I think that depending on what the Bears do this year, they could come into next year with a little bit of this Lionesque-ness that's going on right now.
Right.
A lot of hype. And we're going to talk about Justin Fields a little bit later on in the show. But I think he's going to be a big reason why, like you said. And I think if the Bears come out and win 7-8 football games this year, which I'm not expecting, but if they do, they could go into next season with a little Lion-esque action going towards them. And I think it'd be good to
Good for our division.
A lot of the people that aren't from Detroit that fell in love with the Lions last year did it because of Hard Knocks.
Right.
The Bears, nobody likes the Bears.
Fuck
Listen,
them.
nobody's
They're
liked the
fucking
Bears.
The only people that like the Bears
1985.
just like the skit from Saturday Night Live where they're the
Bears.
the Bears,
Yeah.
exactly.
Nobody's liked the Bears since '85.
Sexy would be the Jets. I mean,
There's a lot of storylines there.
if oh my God, if you between Sauce Gardner getting his face on there.
And honestly, I think the best Hard Knocks season that I've ever seen, I know you mentioned that the Jets have already
Rex
done it before,
Ryan and the Jets.
was the Rex Ryan season when Antonio Cromartie's trying to name his kids. They're waiting for Revis to come back, and Rex Ryan gave the speech. And he goes, "Let's go get a goddamn snack." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
You guys remember that? I thought that was great, and there, there's the New York element, but
Rex Ryan was perfect for the Jets.
this city is why I want to see the Saints be on Hard Knocks. They have great storylines with Derek Carr coming in. It's the best. Have you been to New Orleans? I know.
Correct.
Have you been to New Orleans before? It's one of my favorite. It's arguably my favorite city in the United States. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. And so much goes on there. And there's the LSU connection that's fun. There's the Michael Thomas storyline, the new quarterback.
And everybody's
There's a lot to like. Jamal Williams is back there, so you'd get back-to-back seasons of him.
You know you're going to get a dog with Jamal Williams down there.
I think the Saints would be a lot of fun, and it's somewhere they haven't gone. It's someone that the Lions are playing this year, so you get a little bit of insight into that. I think the Saints would be fun. I think the Jets are the sexy. I have no interest in the Commanders.
None.
Zero interest in the Commanders.
seeing Washington do it.
I don't even know who the
What's
fuck
wrong?
you
don't
would
want to
follow.
see Sam Howell?
No, and I'm also good on the Chicago Bears. Mainly, selfishly, for the same reason you said you'd want to see the Chicago Bears. I don't want to see the Chicago Bears.
wanna-
I don't want them to build any fucking clout.
I want them to be exposed.
Yeah, I'm all good on Bears fans.
Okay.
The Commanders one. I mean, there's no. Did you watch the Cardinals in season one?
I haven't watched
I
either.
like Brian
either
Robinson.
in
I
season
like.
one.
That's cute.
And both of them shit the bed. The
Right.
Cardinals ended up, you get a front row
they were
seat to a
awful.
torn ACL, and then 2 years ago it was the Colts, and the Colts completely they were in a playoff
Sam
spot,
Ehlinger.
and then they blew it in the last week of the season. So you had a front row seat to the Colts choking when they did it.
That Cardinals one was atrocious because they were so
Yeah, it was
bad.
awful.
And I got a feeling the Commanders one's gonna be the same way. So hopefully they do something right with the preseason.
Hopefully Ron Rivera shakes it up over there or something. Maybe Brian
He's
Robinson
cool.
will get shot again.
He's someone I'm interested in is Ron Rivera. And then Brian Robinson, that was fucking awesome. I love the memes that were like Keenan Allen still working on his hamstring. Brian
toe.
Robinson, the turf toe.
Yeah.
And Brian Robinson got shot and came back in 4 weeks. Like, I would love to hear from Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, speaking of getting shot,
Uh-oh.
it is well documented about Ja Morant's questionable behavior as of late in regards to the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA.
He's a
flashing
fucking clown.
guns all over the place on Instagram, at strip clubs, all the above. So if I read you guys a tweet,
Sure.
I would want you to tell me what kind of person you'd think would tweet something like this.
Okay.
At Ja Morant, dumb. You letting social media and yo pride ruin yo real money. Put them guns down and run that money up. Make one of your homies sign up for security or concealed carry if you feel like you need it that bad. But you, the breadwinner, you got to start acting like it.
Can I go first?
I would love it.
I think that's someone that's very cognizant about gun control and what role they have in the community as a role model, and someone that wants to see Ja Morant go on the right path.
seen it, and I probably.
What if I told you that wasn't the case, but that was actually Patriots cornerback Jack Jones, who just pled not guilty to 9 gun charges and is facing up to 30 years in prison.
Okay.
And tell us what Jack Jones was caught with. Is that in there? Can you see it?
It is. So on June 16th at Boston, at Logan International, he thought it'd be a good idea to carry 2 loaded Glock 9s through security in his carry-on.
They didn't shoot him at the airport?
And wasn't there an extra piece of paraphernalia in there that was pretty alarming as well?
There was indeed. Not only was there large capacity magazines in there
Right.
Okay.
with extra ammunition, there was also a silencer, and none of the guns were registered, and he doesn't have a
Yes,
firearm
yes.
identification card.
Because you don't want anyone to hear. You
Why
need the
is he
silencer
talking
because you
shit
don't want
to
anyone
John
to hear
Morant
you.
When he's got a fucking silencer, doesn't even have a CPL.
And wasn't there some sort of thing in
hell?
there that like increases the capacity of the gun? Not the extra mags, but there was something in there that increases this. I don't know anything about guns, so
They were
Okay.
large capacity magazines, so they usually probably, what is it? Glock 9 holds what, 7 rounds usually? If you have one in the chamber.
Oh, the
maybe
normal
8.
the normal one is 11.
Either way, large
It's
capacity
probably holding 15
is what they
rounds.
said. Yeah, so it
Yeah.
could be, it's an extended clip, essentially.
I have 33 round clips for mine, so I don't know.
there's a bigger picture problem in America, and that's why these guys are getting the book thrown at him. John Morant got his 25 games because it's up for debate if what he did was illegal or not. But what these guys are doing in the eyes of their leagues isn't legal because they want to send a good message to kids, which is we have kids in this world. There's high school kids that got to worry about their tests and getting into college and their girlfriends and boyfriends and also showing up to school and getting blown away that day. And if you're a role model to kids, teenagers, high school kids, these leagues don't want you to be brandishing a weapon or showing up to an airport with guns because they want to send a good message to the kids that you're a role model for. And that's why the book is being thrown
I
at these
do
guys.
have to say this. If you ever show up to an airport with multiple loaded weapons, you're
Where
a
was he bringing
fucking
it?
idiot.
Where was he bringing
You're
the
a
gun?
fucking idiot.
Yeah, what do you need to hold on? I need in case there's a terrorist on the plane. I need to pull
Come
my
on,
gun
dude.
out.
Come on.
His
the
lawyer,
fuck?
his lawyer said that he
Oh, I
had
forgot it was in my bag?
Yes.
What the fuck?
he had no intention of bringing any guns into the airport that day,
Oh, really?
quote unquote.
Okay.
But he brought his whole arsenal.
Would he go to the gun range and forget his guns were in
He
his
went
bag?
straight from the gun range to the airport.
Maybe.
She also then said all Mr. Jones wants to do is play football for the
Mr.
New England
Jones.
Patriots, and he
Okay.
does not want to be a distraction at
So did
all.
Aaron Hernandez.
The Patriots have issued a statement acknowledging that he was arrested, have not commented further, and there has been no talk of him being cut.
I'm sorry, what's Robert
suspended.
Kraft waiting till it plays out like the Hernandez?
He was one of their
thing
best
did?
rookies last
Are
year.
we really
so-
fucking going there, dude?
He is.
That is a funny organization for it to happen to.
Well, the thing is, Jones was suspended by Belichick last year for 2 games for an undisclosed reason.
Maybe he
I remember that
Maybe
going
he brought
down.
his Glocks to
he
the
was
fucking
checking into the
practice.
stadium for the game, and they was going through the metal detector, and he's like, "Oh, hold on, it might have been this," and he pulled this gun out.
Whatever, dude. Come on, dude.
But
are you kidding
I
me?
do
man?
have to say, you look like a real grade A fucking dick to go out and tweet at John Morant, who technically, like Zolo said, didn't break any law.
This guy tried to say it was a fucking toy gun. After all this went down with him, he tried to say that the gun wasn't real. It was a fucking toy.
Which, even if it was or wasn't, that's not the point.
Correct.
That's not the point.
Anyways, Jack Jones, you look like a real.
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're a fucking
Done.
idiot.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe he did have good intentions.
Maybe he did.
Maybe he totally did. But like, you're also not just by having the gun
What-
and
how many
saying
guys-
go get your own security. Just by having the gun, you're not following your own rules.
You know what I would like to know? How many guys have you seen in the NFL that have been caught at the airport with fucking guns?
So-
it's something that's happened many a time.
Since 2020, not necessarily airport specific, but there's
Yeah.
instances at the airport. Since 2020, I just saw a stat today. I think it's 16 arrests.
Yes.
Of guys just in possession of ones. Quinnen Williams, the guy I want the Lions to have, had a gun at the airport and got caught and got arrested. Insane
Listen,
drill.
I get it. I get it that if you were, I don't know, at the fucking gun range and one of your bags has a fucking gun in it. I mean, not a carry-on bag.
Listen,
What the fuck, dude?
I get it.
Was
okay.
this a carry-on bag?
Yes, it was in his carry-on bag.
Oh my god.
There's no excuse for
It went
that.
through the fucking conveyor
no
belt. They
Imagine being the TSA agent. Imagine being the TSA agent. You're
Yeah.
sitting there with your chips and you're
like,
you're
what the
looking at
fuck?
the X-rays, and then you hit the button to go back. Is that what the fuck I think it is?
Yeah.
We
I
haven't
wanna know
seen one
what-
of these
I
this
want to know
week.
where you got the silencer from because
Okay.
I've been looking for one.
I'll say this much. Regardless of what your thoughts are on the gun issue, if you are, these guys are NFL players.
Correct.
They're constantly covered in God knows how much jewelry, driving around God knows
I
what
get it. They
car.
wanna protect
And if you
themselves.
wanna
I totally
protect yourself,
understand.
That's fine. But you having that position and you having this kind of influence and everything else that comes with being an NFL player, you have got to be responsible enough to be a responsible firearm owner.
Check your luggage in, asshole.
Have it registered.
Can I say something? He laid out the blueprint to be responsible too.
Yes.
Hire your own security. He said.
Right.
Exactly.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea, Jack Jones.
Yeah. You don't have it registered. You don't have your, what we call here a CCW, in Massachusetts, they must call it an identification card of some sort. You don't have any of that.
If he
You don't
bought the
even know
guns
where
himself,
they're
he
at.
had to register them.
Well-
If he bought the guns himself, he had to register them. They have to be in your name.
Think
All
about-
my guns are in my name.
If
They're
he
registered to
didn't
me.
know, which I don't think he'd be stupid enough
That's
to
bullshit.
intentionally, I don't think he'd be stupid enough to intentionally put it in the carry-on because you have to know that that's not going to fly. But that means you, as a gun owner, weren't responsible enough to know where your shit was.
When you purchase a gun, you have to have a background check done on you. Now in the United States, it doesn't matter if it's a 12 gauge or if it's a handgun, they have to be registered. Everything has to be registered because they want to know what they're dealing with. They want to know how many guns you got and what you have. Everything needs to be registered now.
It wasn't just like one gun in a bag.
Yeah.
No,
Correct,
it was-
correct. It's
it
not
was
like
an
he had
arsenal.
one
Like,
pistol.
that's stupid.
It's the silencer that does it for me.
Yeah,
Like
the
he's
si-
like
the
he's
silencer
fucking
puts it
James
over the
Bond.
edge
Like
for
he's
me.
an
I love
assassin.
that.
Yeah, silencers are for that's for murder. That's for trying to murder someone.
That's for doing shit.
That's not for
quietly.
self-defense.
Some of them
That's
have
not some
more
First Amendment shit. It's silencer. Like
That's over the top right there.
yeah.
Although there ain't nothing that looks more cool than a gun with a silencer.
Anyways.
I will have to say that. He's been watching a lot of John Wick movies.
I think we need to talk about some quarterbacks.
Okay.
There's been a lot of talk about them lately. Obviously, we had Aaron Rodgers, the little ankle issue, and then, Boomer Esiason came out today and said that he's been watching Aaron Rodgers during the Jets offseason program and that he thinks Aaron Rodgers is in the best playing shape of his career and thinks he will throw a minimum of 50 touchdowns this season
Wow.
and will break the touchdown passing record this year.
Holy shnikes. Who said that?
Boomer Esiason.
He likes to drink too, doesn't he? Is he hanging out with Robert Ursay?
Do you have any belief in that before we get into the
No,
rest of
I
this
mean, if
story?
he's in that good a shape, I do believe that he can come close to doing that. Yes.
Do you?
No. You need
don't
receivers.
either.
You need receivers to do that. And love Garrett Williams. I don't like anyone else that he's throwing to in that offense as much as everyone else does.
I just think he's going to make that. kid a
Alan
superstar.
Lazard.
I
You
really
didn't.
do.
You didn't break the touchdown record with Alan Lazard before. Maybe you won some MVPs.
Alan Lazard.
Whatever his name is.
What about Randall Cobb?
The ghost.
Yeah, you're
Christ.
not too high on the ghost, I take it.
I'm not. No.
So the Rodgers thing,
Love him.
you love him this year.
I love him this year. I think Aaron Rodgers really going to prove something. And I don't think it's so much as him. I think it's going to be more of the running game with Brees Hall, but I think that's going to help Rodgers put it to another level.
That I'm really torn on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Aaron Rodgers could go out there and nobody'd be shocked if he won an MVP this year, right?
I wouldn't be shocked. I just
don't think
think
anybody would. But
I think the Jets are better than any of the teams that he's played with since the Super Bowl winning team that they had. The Jets are better defensively.
This is the best
and
defense he's
offensively.
had since that Super Bowl
Correct.
team in Green Bay.
Correct.
this is the one
Since
thing
Clay
that,
Matthews was there.
this is the one thing that worries me about Rodgers. All right, and
Okay.
it's kind of I'm going to call it the Brady effect.
Okay.
It's like at a certain point, it's going to start to wear like it's not going to look pretty anymore. And I get it.
I don't think he's there yet. I don't think Rodgers is there yet. I don't think he's where Brady's at that point. I don't.
You think he's
I still think he's viable. I'm not trying to be an asshole, but I don't think Tom Brady, as good as he tried to make the Bucks look, and they were fucking awful.
They were fucking awful.
He has been regressing. He regressed 5 years prior to that. I don't think you've seen that from Rodgers yet.
Now,
Rodgers' year last year was evident. He had no fucking receivers that he was even played with, and they were all gone. He didn't have any weapons at all.
Listen,
except Christian Watson.
I'm not saying that Rodgers is going to regress. I'm saying that
Well, he's going to
at
eventually.
a certain point, we're going to see the regression. And
Correct.
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think we saw, I mean, the last 5 years of his career, he won 2 rings. I don't think we saw a huge Brady regression. It was last year. Last year looked different than all of the years prior.
No, it didn't.
Can I tell you,
The
can I
year
tell you
prior
the
to
difference
that was
between
different year.
Brady and Rodgers? Can I tell you the difference? Tom Brady, I get flack for saying this, but he was in one of the worst divisions in football every year. It was an easy division to win. As soon as the division started to kind of get good,
the LeBron
I'm not saying
James
this
of the
is why,
NFL.
This isn't why he skipped town. He just wanted a new scenery. But he was gone once the Bills were on the rise, and now the Dolphins are there.
Correct.
And Aaron Rodgers kind of did the same thing. He preyed on a pretty bad division, but Aaron Rodgers went to a good division, and Tom Brady went to another bad division, basically. So
Correct.
you instantly have a shot to make the playoffs if you're the best team in your division, because one team from every division gets in. So that's why last year, I think they got in with a losing record last year, or if not, they were only one game above. They were 9 and 8, right?
9-8, yeah.
Okay, so regardless, I think it's going to be tough for Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to look as good, if not better, athletically as Tom Brady did. I just don't like that division for Aaron Rodgers, number one. Number two, I don't like who he's throwing to. I don't think Nathaniel Hackett's going to unlock him with what's going on in that division. I just don't see it happening.
He's going to have a monster year, dude.
What else about
Especially
Aaron
the way he
Rodgers?
uses the backs.
Is there anything else about Aaron Rodgers?
So far, not really. I mean, ever since he had his little ankle bust up, it seemed to be kind of.
No, he's good. He's
Seems
been
to be
looking good
kind
in
of quiet
practice.
now.
They're saying he looks really good.
Didn't he deny a trade to New England, supposedly?
Yes, he did. Speaking of that, this one this shocked me, but it didn't shock me because I get why he didn't want to do it. But yeah, so reports have come out that Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be traded to from Green Bay to New England, and at the last minute decided that he was not going to be a Patriot.
Do you think that's a surprise
So
that he
I
wouldn't
think
want
there's
to be a
two
Patriot?
reasons why he wouldn't want to be a Patriot. One is the Bill Belichick effect, which we're going to talk about this some more.
Oh, they'd get into it.
We're going to talk about this some more when we talk about DeAndre Hopkins, but I don't think I think it was the same thing where Brady and the Brady Belichick thing started to deteriorate at the end of the New England era.
I don't think
It's
you can say that
Belichick's
because
way.
he's never coached Aaron Rodgers.
But there's a reason why, right? If Rodgers didn't want to be in New England, I think Belichick
I think
was
it's
a
pretty
big part
obvious
of the
the
problem.
reason why he didn't go to New England. No,
Or
Last place in the division? Is that why? Is that what
Huh?
you're going to say? Because they're the worst team in the division? Is that why you're going to say that? Or?
who's he got to throw to?
That's the same thing.
He's got the same fucking problem he just walked out of.
While we were sitting here, I was just thinking, we'll get to DeAndre Hopkins later, but what if he knew he had more to throw to at the time he was asked to make the trade? Would he go there? I still think the answer
don't
is
think
no.
You don't think if he knew
And-
DeAndre Hopkins was going to go to New England
can I ask you a
that
question?
he would actually have a viable fucking receiver?
That's one
then?
guy. That's one guy.
Can I ask you
Yeah.
a question?
Maybe Lazard would be there.
Do you think
Maybe Randall Cobb would have been a Patriot.
Do you think LeBron James would ever play for the Chicago Bulls?
Would he ever play for the Chicago Bulls? I think wherever his son is deciding where to go play, that's where he'll be.
You know where he's going with this, though, right?
What?
Aaron Rodgers would never go to New England.
Why?
Because in the eyes of Patriots fans,
Oh,
in
stop.
the eyes of the
Oh,
organization,
God. Don't even go there.
he
Are
would
you
always play
serious?
second fiddle.
Maybe that's a part of
Bullshit.
it. Maybe that's a part of it, but I'm significantly more so lean to your first part, which is Belichick. I don't think Aaron Rodgers not that Tom Brady didn't have an ego, but Brady and Belichick built what they built together. They could always
Correct.
work together. I don't believe their relationship ever soured. I don't believe in anything like that. I just think it was time for greener pasture for both of them to see what they could do, and they both moved in a different direction. With Aaron Rodgers, I think he has the ego to kill a coach. I really do. I believe that
Well,
Aaron
he did it
Rodgers
with Mike McCarthy.
did it with McCarthy, and I think if Aaron Rodgers gets one whiff of something he doesn't like with Bill Belichick, which is going to happen early and often, that's not a guy that he wants to play for.
And
Whereas
that,
Robert Saleh is.
I think the roster had a lot to do with him not wanting to.
Roster too. I don't think the Patriots defense touches
defense
the
is
Jets.
not
Yeah.
Elite.
Yeah.
I actually have a quote here from Patriots Country that somebody close to Aaron Rodgers said that, quote unquote, a 4-time MVP didn't want to play for Satan.
Yeah, that's
calling
not what
Bill
Aaron
Belichick
Rodgers.
Satan?
Aaron Rodgers is looking for
I don't
control.
believe that
He's
at
looking
all.
for control at this point in his career. That's why things didn't go well in Green Bay the last couple years. He wants control to the point where he thinks he should own a fucking team. So I don't think he's ever said that, but that's just how I
He
feel.
owns the Chicago.
He's just got enough ego to where
I think he's
his
been
ego
around
is
long
different than
enough and
anyone
his-
else's ego. So that's why I don't
think
think
he's kind of earned it. I think he's kind of earned
Yeah.
his right to. No different than Brady earned his right never to fucking practice on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And did I think Aaron Rodgers has earned it.
won one Super Bowl. He should probably still.
Yeah, but he's
practice
been
on
MVP
Wednesday.
how many times?
Aaron Rodgers is a fucking cunt, and I can't stand him. That being said, I don't disagree that he's earned the right to have a little bit control at this stage of his career. But that's
Correct.
maybe why. That's another example or another caveat is at this stage of his career. I don't think the Patriots provide as good of an opportunity to win a Super Bowl at this stage of his career as the Jets did.
And them being as shitty as they are, I think that's a big reason why he didn't want to go there.
I
Period.
agree with that too.
He knew
I
they
think
were
all
garbage
are valid
last year.
reasons. I think all are extremely valid reasons. I can't believe we're considering him a veteran quarterback at this point, but Patrick Mahomes.
Oh God.
Shockingly enough, we're going to talk about him in a second, but it's just odd to see him up there on the veteran quarterback side of the board because I want to jump to the other side and I want to talk about some rookie quarterbacks coming in, and that is Bryce Young, who has officially been named the starter
I was
for
wrong
the
about
Carolina
that.
Panthers.
I was wrong about that.
All of us.
Who else was the quarterback there?
The what's his face? Jacoby Brissett
Yeah.
they brought in, I think. They had someone else too. Maybe the guy from the
Not Andy
XFL.
Dalton, is it?
Oh yeah, Andy Dalton. It was Andy
Yeah.
Dalton.
Yeah, well, guess what? I mean, if he can't
No.
beat Andy Dalton out, they need to draft another fucking quarterback next
Yes,
year. I mean,
they have
come
Matt
on.
Corral too. But I
Sorry?
mean,
Yeah,
Matt
but he
Corral
was
there,
hurt.
too.
I don't-
Was I wrong about Jacoby Brissett? Is he there?
Jacoby Brissett is not there.
Oh yeah, I messed up. I'm sorry. I get him. Yeah, sorry.
Here we go. I did not think there was a. I agreed with you. We were both in stride on this. I did not think Bryce Young was going to start week 1. I just thought they'd give him more time. Evidently, they
Frank
think he's
Reich
ready to
disagrees. It's going to turn up the gas on the Panthers because they were close to making the playoffs last year. And I think now, if this is the way you go, if
Sam
you're going
Darnold.
to invest in pick 1, I think that now they're going to have a lot of pressure on them to win the division. That's my opinion.
I'm looking at this depth chart for them right now. All right. And we haven't really done this with them. And I want to do it real quick because there's a lot of other QBs that we need to talk about. Miles Sanders and Chuba Hubbard. Blackshear's still there as a third back. Wide receivers, Thielen, DJ Chark, Terrence Marshall.
I don't hate
Laviska
that.
Shenault's still there. I don't hate that. Tight end, Hayden Hurst.
Nice.
I was high on them when we did the predictions.
Yeah.
I know.
I don't
and
know if you remember
thought the
that.
Saints. I know you said they were going
Guys,
to win the
guys
division.
like Adam Thielen are going
It's
to be
gonna
a
be-
heaven sent to him.
Exactly.
interesting.
Exactly. And Chark was
Chark,
excellent. When
yes.
healthy, Chark is excellent.
It's starting
He
to
made
get a little
quarterbacks look good in Jacksonville.
I mean, Brian Burns had nothing but high praise for everybody. And he's probably the best player on the team at this point. So, also,
Jeremy Chin.
they're building something there, it kind of looks like. You might be right on that one.
We'll see. It's going to come down to how good Bryce Young is week 1. And then if he could hold it for the other 17, 18
I don't think
weeks.
there's any doubt that he's going to be better than Andy Dalton.
That's
really
fair.
don't.
I think they
Even
could win the
with no
division.
experience.
If he's better than Andy Dalton, that's the difference in that division, and I think that's the difference between them and the Saints.
He's played in big college games, so I don't think the transition's going to be that big.
Because again, the schedule for the NFC South this year, 4 out of those 5 teams have the easiest schedules in football because they play each other. They get to play Tampa twice, and they were good last year. They beat the Lions. I think it was bullshit, and I think it was too cold, and there was issues with the turf and all that. But they beat the Lions. They manhandled them. So that defense is there. They brought in a very underrated head coach, in my opinion, in Frank Reich. They completely remodeled their staff. They had a really good free agency, a decent draft. We'll see.
We need to talk about the second overall pick as well, because CJ Stroud is now number 1 on the Houston Texans depth chart over Uncle Sam's favorite quarterback in the league, Davis Mills.
I think that's a travesty.
You on this show said that Davis Mills would probably start the whole year.
I did not think so. I think Stroud.
said
I don't.
Hold on.
Did they
Can I
officially name him the
finish?
starter?
No, but they moved him to number 1 on the depth
Go
chart.
ahead.
I said Stroud to me, and I'm going to tell you right now, he was the best passer out of all these guys in this last draft that just went on. He was the most ready,
Pocket
accurate
passer.
pocket passer out of all of these guys.
I agree with that too.
Yeah.
By the way, and I'm a Michigan fan. I love watching.
And believe
Stroud.
me, we watched him carve up the number 1 defense in the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Easily. They missed a fucking field goal. They would have won that game. Or an extra point.
Now, this is the thing. When I look at Bryce Young and the Panthers, I see a situation that looks like they're going to win games this year. When I look at Houston, regardless of how good CJ Stroud really plays this year, I don't think this team is going places this year.
Talk about no one to throw to.
I mean, their number 1 receiver is Robert Woods.
Okay.
Their number 2 receiver is Nico Collins.
Ooh, go blue.
Okay.
Number 3 is John Menchke.
Who?
Oh, John Mechie didn't play. Okay.
Oh, John Mechie didn't play. He
In,
was hurt.
in fairness, I think he was battling cancer or a torn ACL or both. John Mechie's really good and did a lot of damage with Jameson Williams at Alabama. So it's
Correct.
basically his first year. And he's gonna be good, but no, he's essentially a rookie.
They
Correct.
added Dalton Schultz from down the street, which will be
That's a good
That's
pass
going to
catcher.
help.
That's a
There's
good pass
nothing
catcher.
that helps a quarterback better than a good tight end.
and running back wise, Damian Pierce, Devin Singletary.
They're
Damian
not
Pierce.
ready, and we knew the Texans weren't ready. And who knows if they end up in the Hopkins sweepstakes? Now we're talking, but it's going to be hard. I think the Colts are closer than them.
Agree.
Jacksonville's going to run train in that division, and the Titans are still a serviceable team despite what we've been saying about them for the last month.
So my next question is why? Why not give this guy a little bit more time? I mean, you have Davis Mills. Davis Mills is just sub-serviceable, but why do it now?
The
Why
new
roll
NFL,
it in
the new
now?
NFL is all these kids come in and they play right from the get.
And I don't think it works.
I don't
I think
either.
the formula, like the formula with Mahomes, where you sit him behind someone good, and Jalen Hurts, where you sit him behind someone good,
Correct.
maybe work them in towards the end of their rookie year. I think that formula works. And this team has nothing to. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be that great.
So what are you going
Don't
to do?
worry
Put
about
Davis Mills in there and let him
So yeah,
fucking
maybe go get a veteran quarterback
Get
to let him
killed.
sit behind, to mentor him. But if he's that good, and I think Stroud is going to be good, I think he's the best. I think he's going to break that trend of Ohio State quarterbacks being bad, and I think Fields sucks. So I don't think it's going to be Fields. I think Stroud is going to break that trend, and I think he's going to be a very good quarterback. And I would
not
let him
like
marinate.
Justin Fields.
He's fun to watch. I love watching
shit.
Justin Fields, and I
There he is.
loved watching Fields in college. I don't think he's going to be a good
All right,
quarterback.
let us talk about 2 other rookies because we're going to have fun with this Justin Fields thing here in a second. But the third rookie quarterback we're going to talk about is Anthony Richardson. He's currently 2nd on the Indianapolis Colts depth chart,
Is he really?
which is very interesting because I think he was the one that
Who's
we
he
all
behind?
thought-
Are
Is
you
he
trying to
behind?
tell me Sam Ellinger is in front of
No,
him?
Sam Ellinger's 3rd.
Oh,
Who's first?
Gardner Minshew.
Gardner
yeah,
Minshew.
baby. Let's go.
The staff.
So
The
if
fucking
that
stat.
holds, I'm obviously wrong about 2 of these quarterbacks, but everything I've read about Richardson and one of the reasons rookies don't play is because they can't grasp the offense. And everything I'm reading is he's running that offense flawlessly. And every quote about that kid is so fucking good about how smart he is. And I think he ends up starting. He's still my pick to be rookie of the year right now. Today,
Okay.
that is my pick to be rookie of the year. We'll talk later, obviously. But I think Richardson's going to be good. And all the quotes coming out of Indianapolis have been great.
Yeah, and realistically, I mean, if they're all healthy, out of the three teams that we discussed, I mean, the Colts and the Panthers both have teams that could.
They have
I
a
don't wanna
nice.
say win the division, but like Jacksonville, I agree. Just like what we said with Houston is going to run through this division, but the Colts are not a dumpster fire. Like I
No,
think
they have a nice array of veteran players too, and I think that's what helps these younger guys is having a decent defense, having guys on the offense that can produce. I think that helps them. Right? I mean, how could you not like to just turn around and hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor? I
Right.
mean, you know what I mean?
And when you can't, you make the plays yourself.
Right, you could make the plays with your feet yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And supposedly your arm is
Elite.
on the run is better than any other quarterback in your class. When you're mobile,
Correct.
you could throw better than even CJ Stroud. So
Oh, you talking about athleticism? He's gifted. Big,
they say
oh,
he has the highest ceiling.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So there was a quote that I want to discuss from a cornerback regarding a quarterback.
Okay.
All of us know that Jair Alexander is, I think he's one of the better corners in the NFL.
Actually talk
Yes.
about this. Yes, let's go.
One of the, in my opinion,
Still
he's
with the
one of the
Packers?
best corners in the NFL. He is still with the Packers.
Okay.
And he was asked about his quarterback this week. And Jair Alexander,
This is after the quarterback's comment on Father's Day. No, it was before. It was before.
what
The Jordan Love. Did you see what he had to say? Well, finish
Okay.
finish yours
Finish what you're
first.
saying.
I must have missed this one, but Jair Alexander said that Jordan Love, after practicing with him, is the best quarterback in the NFL. Period. The best quarterback in the NFL.
Now I get trying to hype your guy up, but saying a statement like that,
Does he look like an asshole, or have we missed something on Jordan Love the whole time?
So this
Nobody
is
knows anything about Jordan Love. This is the problem.
this is a common theme that we've talked about, and I think the division hinges on it. Personally, I think everything we've been reading out of Green Bay is he's been serviceable and he's running the offense great. Got to see it to believe it. History says he's probably at least going to be serviceable. He's going to be able to run that offense. We're reaching with best quarterback in the NFL status. We're reaching on that one.
How about best in the division? Start with that.
Well, he's not even the best in his division.
Come on.
I mean, this is Jordan Love we're talking about.
Talking about his guy, dude.
We'll
They
say
got
this
to give
much.
this guy some kind of prop.
If Jordan Love is as good as he was drafted, if he's as good as running Aaron Rodgers out of town, if he checks off these boxes that people think he checks off, it's going to be a very interesting year in the NFC North.
I mean,
Here's
my
the
God.
problem. Here's what scares me. He didn't run Aaron Rodgers out of town. No. That's what scares me about him.
Kirby Joseph did.
You want to know? No, because I'm going to be honest with you. If that was the case, Rodgers would have been gone 2 years ago.
But technically, Aaron Rodgers didn't run Brett Favre out of town either. Favre retired and then decided to come back afterwards because he was just looking for greener pasture. And I think that's what
Correct.
a similar situation as Aaron Rodgers did.
Well, see, Romeo Dobbs.
Well, they stopped talking to Rodgers. They were like, get out.
Well, Romeo Dobbs, it was like a week ago, he said that, quote unquote, when you go from Aaron Rodgers to Jordan, Aaron was a really great quarterback, but I believe Jordan can do the exact same things.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
Played
All the
for him.
returns are good.
And Dobbs
They weren't
only
worried
played
about
1 year.
Aaron Rodgers and made that trade for a reason. So we'll see.
Yep.
That one's going to be an interesting one to watch. But we'll stay in the NFC North. And honest to God, I don't know if there's a more divisive quarterback we could talk about on this show than Justin Fields.
Is it you two? Do you like Fields?
Well, okay.
So it's you two
I
versus
think
us two, essentially?
This is how I think this goes down. I'm really high on Justin Fields. I think he's somewhere in the middle, and you can't stand him. So this is a good one because I don't think any of us are all on the same page. I think Justin Fields could be an MVP finalist this year. And I know you think I'm fucking crazy.
You're not crazy. You're not crazy. It goes one of two ways though.
Correct. I agree with you there too.
He's the MVP or they're in the Caleb Williams sweepstakes the next year. It's one of the two. History, in my opinion, says that Ohio State quarterbacks, and there have been some damn good ones that
Braxton
dominated
Miller.
college, that were so much fun to watch in college, including Justin Fields. You can make the case he was the most fun Ohio State quarterback to watch in college. History says that that's not the case. I personally do not buy into him as a passer. I just don't. I don't buy into it. I love watching Justin Fields, even pro Justin Fields. I love watching him. I don't think he's anywhere near Lamar Jackson as a passer, so I don't like the comparison. And I don't think he can run an NFL offense. I don't think he's going to be able to play behind in the NFL. I think if he's forced to throw the ball, he's going to get eaten alive because he is not able to hit his receivers in stride. He's just not able to do it.
So what's come out of Bears camp is that people close to the team have said that he's quote unquote miles ahead of where he was last year at the conclusion of mini camp. And one reputable NFL scout recently said that he would be shocked if Fields was not an MVP candidate. And Fields has been training with Michael Vick throughout the offseason.
Oh, God.
One of the knocks on Michael Vick is he couldn't run. His best seasons, his MVP caliber seasons, were the seasons where he wasn't injured and he was able to do the damage with his legs. So you don't want, as fun as Michael Vick was, I loved him. He's one of my favorite players ever. As fun as that was, if that's your ceiling, you're not winning anything because Michael Vick didn't win shit. Michael Vick did not win anything.
Michael Vick had a couple really good seasons in Philadelphia toward the end of his career that was riddled with concussion problems. The problem with Vick was this. It got to a point where everybody just expected way too much. And I'll tell you this, Michael Vick could throw the ball a lot better than Justin Fields can.
Hell yeah.
That's just my opinion. I've seen him do
I
it.
agree with it.
Justin Fields is really interesting to watch because he's a big kid. He's 6'4", 220 pounds, 230. So he's a big kid. He can handle some of the hits. But you know what? I watched Cam Newton at 6'5" and 240, 250 take these hits and be gone in 2 years. I got a feeling that's what you'll see with Justin Fields.
I just don't.
Athletically, he's off the charts. He just ain't going to be able to
can't
throw
win a
the ball
game
consistently.
You can't.
Like you said.
You can't. And that's a good segue for you because he's got a recent issue with one of his receivers that's coming up right now, too. And that's another thing. I don't buy into their revamped receiving core. DJ Moore is good. He's not a number one, but they're number two.
Who is Chase Claypool?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Chase Claypool. You have never liked Chase Claypool, and you've made
Talking
that
about me?
known. Oh yeah.
Chase Claypool drops passes like Bruce.
Well, this is one of the things that we're talking about. Last year, Chase Claypool threw 15 games, 46 receptions for 451 yards and 1 touchdown.
Wow.
Did he do anything in Chicago once they acquired him? Which was at the deadline.
I mean, that was Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney was the guy.
Was the guy for the end of the year. But according to the people close to the Bears, they are not happy with Chase Claypool's effort.
Oh, I agree with that. I seen that in Pittsburgh.
I
think that's why he's gone for
This
Pittsburgh.
is a pretty big knock. People inside of the building are saying that he is, quote unquote, someone who is not very self-motivated.
That's not good.
I mean, if they're talking about this
Now?
if they're talking about this now, there's issues. I mean,
Does he make it out of training
I'm looking
camp?
at the stats here. Chicago was 0-9 with him last year and 3-6 without him. Pittsburgh was 2-6 with him, 7-9 without him.
I think that kind of speaks for itself, no?
All I know is I don't buy too much into that, but I buy a little bit into the fact that Justin Fields, that's one of your top guys. And if they're going to call him an MVP candidate and he's got a receiver that's making no effort at the moment and doesn't want to be there, we've met athletes that don't have any effort and don't love their sport and they're doing it just to get paid. And I think Chase Claypool's dating a little cutie TikTok star too, if I remember correctly. If it's just a means to make money for him and he doesn't love the game, that's not good news for Justin Fields.
Won't be around long.
Won't be around
That
long.
much.
I mean, And you want to know what? I want to attribute some of it to the way Chicago's offense was last year because you remember I drafted Darnell Mooney. I was high on Darnell Mooney fantasy-wise, and I think by week 4,
But
I
it
think I
wasn't
dumped
Mooney
him.
wasn't the issue.
Yeah, but Mooney did. No, he didn't come on. Mooney didn't come on until the last 4 weeks of the year.
He came on though. They unlocked him.
They
and
unlocked
Darnell
him.
Mooney is excellent, by the way.
Maybe
Be a Mastro if his girl.
they need to work Claypool into
Follow her?
the
No, I just-
into the fold. I don't know. I'm not a big Claypool guy either. Great rookie season and never lived up to the expectation after that.
That's
I
that's
just
why he's
don't
not
know.
in Pittsburgh.
Correct.
They would
I
have
just
never
don't
drafted Carl Pickens if he was any good.
They don't.
He's a
and,
shit show.
Pickens?
in Pittsburgh, if you look, the same people have been running.
What?
T. Boone Pickens from Oklahoma State. George Pickens is the guy
George
from Georgia.
Pickens. I'm sorry, George Pickens.
If you go back and look at like Pittsburgh's history, which the same people have run the team forever, have owned the team forever. They've had 3 coaches in the last 50 or so years. If you go back and look, they don't trade guys. They almost never give up on guys, like especially early on in their rookie contracts. They don't do that. So maybe that was an issue last year. I don't know. That didn't come out, but maybe he didn't buy into the culture last year.
I did know something about the Steelers too. They don't spend money on knuckleheads anymore.
No.
They kind of send them packing.
That's a well-oiled machine
Yeah.
there. So if you're not,
Even when you're a top receiver on the team, and they cut you loose for fucking Juju Smith-Schuster. My God.
if you're not a good cog in the
What the
wheel in
fuck?
Pittsburgh, you're probably not going to be a good spoke anywhere else.
Speaking of wide receivers, Jamar Chase made news over the weekend because he called out a certain Mr. Patrick Mahomes. Let's.
No, right.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you here. I get it. There's a little rivalry right now between the Chiefs
Stirring
and the
the pot.
Bengals. If there's one person that you don't want to come at in this situation when discussing rings, you really don't want to come for Patrick Mahomes. I mean,
His response was absolutely perfect,
the
though.
response was literally chef's kiss. You want to break it down for me?
Yeah, I think he said, what did he say? Who's Patrick Mahomes? Who's that? Right?
Yeah, it was Patrick Mahomes. Who's that?
Who's that? I'm not as high on I love Joe Burrow. I think he's a top 2, maybe 3 quarterback in the
Pat
league.
who? Question mark.
Pat who is what he said. I'm not as high on the Bengals as you guys are, so this was bad fodder for the Bengals. If you're a Bengals fan, I'm kind of quaking a little bit. Mahomes' response was perfect because 2 days later, the Chiefs got their championship rings. They are beautiful. I don't know if you could post a picture of those at all, Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce, you're gonna. Yeah, well, no, you
At
won't.
some point, maybe in post editing,
Yeah,
you could
yeah.
do that.
Well,
I saw it in person.
And Mahomes' ring. Mahomes' response was he held his hand up like this, like a telephone, with both of his rings on, and he said, "That's who." That's who. So that's a guy, and no matter where you place Mahomes, personally, I guess you kind of can't call him the best in the league right now. He's not the guy I would build a team around. I think there's an Andy Reid element, but you can't do that. And Jamar Chase did that. It's good old-fashioned shit talking when it's all
yeah.
said and done. Uncle Sam's seen worse in his life over the last 40, 50
I mean,
years
you have to
of watching
figure.
NFL.
I think right now one of the best rivalries, because again, none of us are that high on the Bills. I think right now the biggest rivalry in football is going to be the Cincinnati Chiefs.
It's some combination. Best rival is some combination of Chiefs, Bills, Bengals. It's somewhere in there.
Maybe toss the Ravens into that.
You guys
It's what you look forward
toss
to most.
Miami into that too. Don't sleep on Miami this year.
Well, speaking of Miami,
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill lives in Miami, and Tyreek Hill was going out on a boat. He was out there with Drew Rosenhaus, his agent. Drew
Okay.
Rosenhaus posted videos of him in the ocean wrestling with sharks.
Who was wrestling with sharks?
Drew Rosenhaus was in the ocean wrestling with a shark.
Drew Rosenhaus was
Yes,
in the water
fucking
with sharks.
agent. He was in the water wrestling a shark.
Holy shit!
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
Okay.
either way, we don't know if there was a little bit of, maybe some Mai Tais involved or what, but
A kerfuffle ensued.
yeah, a kerfuffle ensued. And one of the dock attendants, a male dock attendant, ended up getting slapped, quote unquote, extremely hard on the back of the head by Tyreek Hill, and considered bringing up charges for assault and battery, but nothing has been filed yet.
It sounds like the gentleman
his
in
head
question
sunburned?
did not want to bring up charge. He doesn't want to
Was
press
his head
charges.
sunburned?
Not exactly sure.
Just asking.
But it's an ongoing investigation, they said.
Unless Reek showed up and here's a certain amount of money.
The Miami-
do shit about it.
Miami-Dade Police Department was aware of the situation. The NFL knows about it. Tariq's agents and representatives know about
Have they
it
charged him?
because no, he has not been charged.
Then forget about
He
it.
has not
He's gonna pay the guy off. It'll
Right.
be done.
You think so? Big check on that one. He slapped
Big
somebody
check.
in the back.
So
of the
so
That's
the issue
the most expensive slap he'll ever do.
that's not entirely true because the issue is Tariq Hill has a domestic violence case against him. I think he got kicked out of Kansas State for it, and he beat the shit out of a baby. I don't want to
Yeah, but
get
I
misquote,
thought that
but
was.
it was a long
already-
time ago, and it's water under the bridge. But that
Right.
being said, you have a knock against you already that you're aggressive and violent towards women. You don't want that, especially if you're one of the best receivers in the league going into what could be a good year. Like, don't come on, these guys. Like, it goes back to the Chris Jones gun thing or Jack Jones gun thing. Like, let's not let this stuff stop you from having a really good season. Don't fucking do it, please.
Yeah.
I would have to agree with you, especially.
Unless he's charged, I don't think he has an issue because knowing Roger Goodell and how Roger Goodell reacts to things, unless he's charged, I don't think he'll do anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, he was Oklahoma State. He was kicked out of Oklahoma State for domestic
Oklahoma
violence
State,
in
sorry.
2014, and then went to West Alabama to finish his college career. But again, yeah, this is just extra noise, extra bullshit, extra things that you don't need when you are going into the kind of season that Miami's going into right now. It's not a good look for him. Again,
Dolphins said anything publicly about it?
they have refused comment.
There's
There you
there's
go.
nothing
I
to say if
wouldn't
there's
worry
no
about it.
charges, if there's no video or no anything like that. There's nothing you can
I'm
do.
sure there's no video, no nothing.
Yeah, the only video was Drew Rosenhaus wrestling with Sharks.
Holy Christ.
cool.
He's a badass dude.
That's yeah.
Wrestling sharks? Holy Christ.
How do you feel about Drew Rosenhaus?
I'm mixed. He's I think he's probably the best. His strategy paid off really well this year with Jalen Carter in the
His
draft.
strategy has paid off his whole career.
And he's been good. I think when people think of NFL agents, I mean, I know they made a movie off of Lee Steinberg, which was Jerry Maguire's based off of
Yeah.
Lee Steinberg. But Drew Rosenhaus is in the modern era is the one everyone can think of and everyone can name. So, and he's got the biggest Rolodex of clients, if I remember correctly.
correct.
Currently,
Huge.
he's good at what he does.
Jumping back to New England for a second here, it seems like DeAndre Hopkins is having quite an impact on Bill Belichick and the Patriots organization. Did you say that Bill Belichick canceled practice for DeAndre Hopkins?
Sounds like he canceled practice when Hopkins made his visit to make it, and it was designed to make Hopkins think, well, we don't really emphasize practice. Meanwhile, we have a whole 20-year body of work of players that say them practices was fucking intense over there in Boston or wherever, Foxborough. But not only did he cancel practice for Hopkins' visit to show that, you know, we don't practice that hard and that much, but also there's people coming out saying that, well, he'll go a little bit lax with the practice rules. And Belichick likes for you to practice if you're available to practice. But guys are saying that he'll scale back on that if they end up signing Hopkins. And it sounds like both of Hopkins' visits went well to Tennessee and to New England.
So, as of 3 hours ago, the Patriots' odds jumped up to land DeAndre Hopkins. They went from plus 400 to plus 100 and are currently in the top spot. So, that to me, I feel like he's going to end up.
Is that insider trading?
Yeah, technically, that's insider trading. Yeah, I just, and you know, when we talked about this last week, I
bet
think all
on
of us
that.
kind of wrote the Patriots off a little bit. I still don't know if I 100% agree with, understand, whatever you want to say, because this is a guy who wanted to go out and win a championship, and I just don't think the Patriots are there right now. But he definitely makes them better. He definitely will help out with the lackluster quarterback performance there. I mean, do I think Belichick's throwing up a smoke and mirror right now? Yeah, but like at the end of the day, it's a decent fit, I guess. I don't love it, but it's a decent fit.
It's a fit for the Patriots more than it is for Hopkins.
Correct. I agree 1,000%. This is a Patriots move. You know, it's not a Patriots move for Belichick to throw away the book and let him do whatever he wants.
Yeah, that's not him.
I think that's an
not him.
indicator on money at that point. I think it's a major indicator that it's going to come down to money. And I'm curious. I want to see. I'll bet there's another visit folded in there. I feel like Dallas hasn't had a say yet. Houston hasn't had a say, and some teams may be evaluating what's going on. And I think he's going to keep the door open unless someone comes in with a big money offer.
Hopkins came out and said that he is in no rush to sign. So again, I don't think we'll have a conclusion on that till after.
Answer that question on there, Bruce.
They are.
We did that about an hour ago. Yeah.
I don't see the answer.
So
here.
I have a
Well, we
question.
said it on the air.
Okay.
So those are real.
No,
betting.
but I'd like you to type it on there too.
So they could get a bookie to go out and put a shit ton of money on whichever team he decides to go to.
Yeah, and it's insider trading. Yo, I'm taking this meeting with the
Martha
Patriots. It's going to
Stewart.
bump their odds.
Should answer that.
But I'm
chat.
really signing with this team.
But see, there's an interesting twist into this because Dalvin Cook has actually been talking a little bit about how awesome it would be to play with somebody like DeAndre Hopkins and how those two together could make an instant impact on the team. And it seemed like Dalvin Cook was real hot on the Dolphins train. And then all of a sudden it kind of quieted down. So
I don't think this guy can pass physical at this point, to be honest with you. I think that's an issue.
is there a
Dalvin
situation?
Cook. Huh?
You think he's been eating too much Burger King?
I just think he can't pass a physical right now.
Is there a situation where Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins play on the same team?
I mean, maybe Dallas, it sounds like. But if they both want money, and it seems like they both want money,
New England has money.
New England has money. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Hopkins is looking at teams that have money. He's not looking
Right.
to win like people thought or like he was prefacing. And Dalvin Cook has explicitly come out and said, I want money. You know, this is where I'm at in my career. If it's got to be a team with money, that's... I don't see that happening. But maybe if they take pay cuts this year, then yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Bill Belichick's not signing a running back for big money.
Well, I'll hold on a second. Dalvin Cook came out today and said, quote unquote, I'm a 3-down back. I like to run the ball. That's what I do. That's my bread and butter. I want a coach that's going to ground and pound, hand me the ball, let me run it up the gut, and make a few plays on the outside, and I want to help them win a Super Bowl. I want an outdated offense.
Oh, wow. Then that's Belichick. Hello.
That was interesting to me right there.
I'm shocked that he would even say that because he's not a durable guy.
I want an outdated offense.
With zero quarterback.
Interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
You can't say that because Mac Jones, as bad as he was, is still serviceable.
Yes, but when you think of an outdated offense, who do you think
Oh,
of?
well, I mean, what did they
Bill
have
Belichick.
offensively?
Bill
They don't even have a receiver on their fucking roster that can even come close to Hopkins. Period.
But, okay, now, again, this is where the DeAndre Hopkins effect comes into it for me because you're right. They don't have anybody.
right.
They don't
They've
have
lost
anybody.
the little guys that they've had.
They had, yeah, I mean, it's bum central. Let's go through it. Juju, wide receiver 1.
Garbage.
Devontae Parker, wide receiver 2. Tyquan Thornton, wide receiver 3.
Thornton is a really dangerous guy.
Oh, come on.
Hold
dude.
on.
This is
Hold on. Let me say this. This guy is a dangerous guy. He's still learning how to play receiver in the NFL. But he was on that 4x100 relay team at Baylor. And he was fucking, he's fast as shit.
Who was your 7th round pick in last year's fantasy draft?
I can't remember.
It was N'Keal Harry.
No, it wasn't. I never drafted him.
You
I never drafted
Then it was
him.
Kendrick Bourne.
I drafted Kendrick Bourne.
There we
not,
go.
Not Harry.
Okay, either fucking way. Kendrick Bourne's 4th on their depth chart.
I love
now.
Kendrick Bourne.
The learning how to play a position thing, like that's like saying you're still learning how to play with your dick. That it doesn't necessarily
he's more
mean
of a
you're
speed guy.
you're gonna knock
he's
someone
a
up
down the
eventually.
field guy.
Okay, but now let's talk about this. If you take Hopkins, and now you have DeAndre Hopkins, Juju,
With Thornton.
Devontae Parker, Thornton. Now we're talking about Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki.
Nice. That's a nice
I
offense.
agree, and it goes back to the Lions argument too. You can add him to any receiving core, and he'll unlock a lot
Yeah.
for all of them. You know, that looks like a good receiving core all of a sudden if you add Hopkins.
Correct.
But still, you're talking about Mac Jones,
Bailey
I don't
Zappi-
think it was
Bailey
just one
Zappi.
bad season for
What's
Mac
wrong with
Jones.
Bailey Zappi?
I don't think it was either. I
See
think-
what he did to the Lions last year.
Listen to me. I think Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi both will be out of jobs.
I
going
think
into
Bailey
next year.
Zappi should start right off the get-go.
Moving on from the Patriots, Mike Evans is currently in talks with the Buccaneers on a 5-year extension that could make him the highest paid wide receiver in football.
I'm
little
shocked
late
that
for
they
that.
would offer it to him.
I am too.
In sports, there's this concept where we reward guys for what they do in the past instead of what they do in the future. And there was a point where Mike Evans was a consistent top 3 or top 5 receiver. It's not right now. Maybe he still has some really good football ahead of him. I think he's I don't want to say underrated, but he's been very unheralded. Because he's done some damage, but then he'll follow up the damage that he's done with some bad seasons or some bad play.
I don't even think he's the best receiver on their roster
A lot of
anymore.
his he might not be. A lot of people would agree with that.
Godwin, I would say, is better
Godwin.
than he is.
Yeah, and he's just been inconsistent the last couple years, which is related to quarterback play too. He's had bad quarterback play
Jameis
other than a year of
Winston.
Brady,
Oh.
but good for him on getting rewarded if he gets it.
Well, see, okay, I read the title that it could make him, but also in the same thing, I read a quote from Mike Evans' agent. Mike loves Tampa, and I know the feeling is mutual. His production is the best of all the guys out there. Bucks ownership loves him. Obviously, Mike thinks he deserves to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL, but we also don't want to put the Bucks in a bad position. That to me means he's staying there regardless of what they pay him.
I feel like that's right. I feel like he's got a family there. He's been there from day
where else
one.
is he gonna go?
Yeah, well, he's got it. I think if he's got good football ahead of him and he wants to win again, that changes that entire argument. But he's been there from day one. I think he's going to continue to be there.
And I'm sorry, who's their quarterback now?
I don't even know. They're early entrants into the Caleb Williams.
They're- yeah.
No, who's their quarterback? It's not Kyle Trask.
Baker Mayfield.
There you go. Now, isn't it unusual that Baker Mayfield is going to be playing with Mike Evans since college? First time since college?
Yeah, and I don't even
That's
think
interesting.
I don't even think they
Hey.
actually played together in college too. They
did.
were there. They were together for a year. It was A&M. They were together for a year, but I don't think Baker Mayfield was the one that
Well,
was
him and
throwing up.
Manziel.
It was Manziel, but Baker Mayfield was on that roster.
Yeah.
So obviously they know each other, but I don't know if it's enough to. I don't know if it's interesting for sure. It's interesting.
You know what I just noticed? If you go through the Buccaneers depth chart, there's a giant hole at wide receiver. Scotty Miller's not there.
I'm sorry?
Scotty Miller isn't there.
Who?
Scotty Miller,
Okay.
the Buccaneers, Braxton Berrios, is not there. One last receiver I want to talk about before we end today's show is Stephon Diggs. So, Buffalo, we're all kind of wishy-washy on Buffalo, but it's starting to seem like Stephon Diggs might also be in the same boat. Obviously, he drew some attention last week when he didn't show up to the first day of minicamp. Then he showed up the next day. And now there's a lot of people saying that he's pretty unhappy with his situation there. This one, to me, this could get really fucking bad really, really quick for Buffalo. The words frustrated have been used. Internal combustion. Like, this isn't
Love
just
that.
saying disgruntled. I mean, these are the words they're using to describe tension between him and Josh Allen. This doesn't seem like it's a small thing. This seems like it's a situation that's coming to a head. I mean, if you look at the first article, Bills being urged by people close to the team to explore trading Stephon Diggs. What would this mean for Buffalo if he's gone? Or what's going to come? I mean, I don't even know what's going to come of this. I know Zolo always says, usually when there's situations like this, it gets fixed. Do you think this one gets fixed? What do you think is going to come of this?
This one seems a little fishy. I'll say this much. Frustrated with the play calling and role in offense and all that. That's code for the play calling and how offenses are structured. 99% of the time has to do with the quarterback. And I think that there's bigger frustrations with Josh Allen. And I know, like, I love Josh Allen. I love watching him play. I just don't think he's that good. And on paper he's a top quarterback, but I think that this all goes back to Josh Allen, and I don't think this gets resolved overnight from that play calling and role in offense standpoint, because that all has to do with Josh Allen. And if Josh Allen can't execute, that's why your role isn't going to be as good. And I don't think Josh Allen can execute. I really don't. I think that that's one of their in-game struggles. He can't execute like Mahomes. He can't execute like Joe Burrow. There's a list of quarterbacks.
Can't even
that he
execute
can't
like Kirk Cousins.
Can't execute maybe like Kirk Cousins. He can't execute like Aaron Rodgers. One thing, for all the times I knock Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins for that matter, a lot of the time they execute. For sure, Aaron Rodgers.
Correct.
Cousins, a lot of the time he executes, especially at home. I don't know
At 1 o'clock.
if Josh Allen can execute. And I think that's where it comes down to.
And I think that's where the frustration's starting too.
Michael Lombardi was on the Pat McAfee show, and he had a pretty good quote saying that the frustrations between Allen and Diggs come down to offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey, and that Stephon Diggs doesn't believe in the offense. Him and Dorsey don't see eye to eye on his role, and it's also causing tension between Diggs and Sean McDermott, because McDermott obviously has his offensive coordinator's back. So now that seems like that just seems like it could end extremely poorly for everybody involved.
Well, this is
In
what's
my
going to, this will probably what's going to happen. If Diggs isn't getting the ball like he was through a stretch of last year, and when he is open, somebody can't find him, and that happens quite a bit in every game with Allen, this will fester into something stupid, and he'll be gone next year. Diggs will be out of there next year.
That's going to be one we get.
Or traded by the trade deadline.
Could be less. Could be less.
Traded by the trade deadline.
I mean, if you have a situation where your star player is no longer getting along with the offensive coordinator and the coach
And the quarterback?
and the
come
quarterback.
on, dude.
I mean-
if it's coming to that point, that it just sounds like Antonio Brown to me. I mean, he's not doing stupid shit, taking his clothes off and jumping in jacuzzis, but I mean, he's right there.
It was cool.
He's about to wag it. Is that what you're saying?
Did I say something wrong? I mean,
Tail's about to wag.
I don't know. I mean, what do you think it is? What do you think?
With Diggs,
Yeah.
maybe he sees what we see, and that's just not the greener pasture. That division's really tough.
When he got bounced out last year, did you watch some of those games? He was fucking not even relevant. And I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
I'll say this much: I think the Bills did enough this offseason to kind of curb some of that. I love the Dalton Kincaid pick.
I do too, but that's not going to help. It's not helping Diggs.
Well, it does help Diggs if Josh Allen's good, and if Josh Allen is a problem and the play calling is also a problem, that doesn't help Diggs.
It's going to get exposed.
And therein is your issue. And if you're
Yeah.
Diggs, I understand, because that guy probably wants to win at this point. I think he probably wants to win more than he wants the money. Just based on what I know about him. Diggs had to help raise his brothers. He could have went to any school he wanted. He was the top wide receiver recruit in the country, and he ended up going to Maryland to be close to home so he could help raise his brothers. One of his brothers is in the NFL now too. Trayvon Diggs is the cornerback for the Cowboys, and he's a big family guy. And I don't think it has anything to do with winning with Diggs. With money with Diggs. I think he wants to win, and I just don't know. There's so
seasoned
many
vet.
takes we did in that hot take episode about teams this year, and one of my takes that I'm confident in is that the Bills are not going to win that division. And if they're not winning that division, they're chasing. They're gonna be looking up at someone, maybe even two teams, and then you still have to go through the Chiefs. You still have to go through whatever else the AFC presents for you, and it could be tough for them this year.
Well, before we go, do you have anything to add?
God bless the
I
NFL.
knew it. I knew it was going to be a God bless.
Just one of those days for sure. God bless.
God bless Roger Goodell.
Guaranteed. God bless. Anything, Solo?
No.
That's it, eh?
I just think that the Jameis Williams
Okay, I
thing is
guess we did have
stupid.
something to add.
I think I'm sorry. I got to talk about it some more.
We could have a podcast.
He should not be
on Jameis Winston.
suspended.
I wouldn't be shocked if we're going into a lull right now. I wouldn't be shocked if there's some movement, if this festers enough to
Some
where
of
there's
these
some
guys
movement.
start to appeal this shit.
Yeah,
They need-
and they should inquire, because I think it's incriminating, and of course, no one agrees with or disagrees
How
with
can
incrimination
the
more than the
Player
NFL.
Association just kind of fucking
And maybe they will.
rush it. What are they getting paid off?
Worse things have happened that guys have been suspended for, and suspensions have been rescinded. Worse things have happened.
Shortened.
I'm sorry, Josh Gordon's career fucking ended because of marijuana, and now it's legal. I mean,
I agree.
what the fuck?
Next week, we're going to break down a PFF story that threw everybody into a tailspin this week, especially if you're a Lions fan. And we're going to keep on going with our position roundups, talk about some tight ends and running backs. So make sure you are ready to join us again next Wednesday. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Tip Balls Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, ring the notification bell. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, you can see Uncle Sam's absolutely gorgeous, perfectly lined up beard and Milwaukee goggles on YouTube. So you should check us out there. Thanks so much again for listening and watching. You will see us next week.